23,000 lives, gone in a single night, not from an earthquake, hurricane, or tsunami, but from mud. On November 13, 1985, a volcanic mud flow buried an entire Colombian town in minutes in what should have been the most preventable disaster in modern history. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into one of history's most sobering lessons about what happens when natural forces collide with human error. I'm going to tell you a story that will change how you think about natural disasters forever. Growing up, we're all taught that natural disasters are inevitable acts of nature beyond human control. Tornadoes, floods, volcanic eruptions, they just happen, right? That's what I believed until a senior researcher at my institute looked me straight in the eyes and said, "The natural disaster is not natural." Contrary to popular belief, most disasters aren't simply acts of nature. They're the result of human decisions, or indecisions. And nowhere is this more evident than in the forgotten tragedy of Armero, Colombia. What most people don't realize is that for a disaster to occur, you need both a natural hazard and social vulnerability. Remove either one, and you prevent catastrophe. This insight fundamentally changes how we should approach disaster preparation. The Nevado del Ruiz volcano had sent warning signals for an entire year before the eruption. Seismic activity began in November 1984. By March 1985, scientists observed a 150-meter vapor column erupting from the mountain. They concluded a major eruption was likely. Scientists even created hazard maps showing Armero was in danger just weeks before the eruption. But here's where the first human failure occurred. These maps were virtually useless to the public. Some versions lacked legends. Others bizarrely placed Armero in a green zone, which residents interpreted as safety. Many survivors later reported they'd never even seen these maps despite their publication in major newspapers. Have you ever received a warning that was so confusing you ignored it completely? Let me know in the comments below if you've experienced something similar. Here's something astonishing. Armero had already been destroyed twice before by the same volcano, in 1595 and again in 1845, killing hundreds each time. Yet collective memory of these disasters had faded, and the town was rebuilt in the exact same location. What most people don't understand about disaster risk is how deeply it's shaped by cultural factors. On the day of the eruption, when ash began falling around 3 p.m., local leaders advised people to stay calm and remain indoors. Some residents recall a priest encouraging them to enjoy this beautiful show of ashfall. These trusted voices discouraged evacuation that could have saved thousands. Compare this to Japan, where tsunami markers indicating historic high water levels serve as constant physical reminders of past disasters, maintaining awareness across generations. The sensory experience of that night must have been terrifying. Imagine the ground trembling beneath your feet, the distant roar growing louder, the smell of sulfur mixing with rain, and then complete darkness as electricity failed throughout the region. I want you to think about your own community for a moment. Do you know what disasters have struck your area in the past? What warning systems are in place? Who would you listen to if evacuation orders came? These aren't just academic questions, they could save your life. The Armero tragedy revealed catastrophic weaknesses in disaster governance. Colombia was dealing with significant political instability from years of civil war. Just a week before the eruption, the government was focused on a guerrilla siege at the Palace of Justice in Bogotá. What's particularly devastating is that officials hesitated to order evacuations, fearing economic and political repercussions if the evacuation proved unnecessary. This hesitation became fatal when a severe storm knocked out communication systems on the night of the eruption. By the time the lahars, volcanic mudflows, were racing down the mountainside at 60 kilometers per hour, it was too late to warn anyone. The town of Armero was buried under 5 meters of mud within minutes. My research consistently shows that preemptive protective actions save more lives than reactive emergency responses, even accounting for false alarms. It's always better to evacuate unnecessarily than to wait until disaster is imminent. The Armero disaster, while devastating, catalyzed significant advancements in volcano monitoring and disaster risk reduction globally. Colombia established specialized disaster management agencies focusing on proactive preparedness. Their geological service expanded from limited capacity to a network of 600 stations monitoring 23 active volcanoes. The contrast with the 1991 eruption of Mount Pinatubo in the Philippines demonstrates the impact of these lessons. There, timely forecasts and effective evacuation procedures saved thousands of lives. What most experts now agree upon is that effective disaster risk reduction must address both physical hazards and social vulnerabilities. Technical solutions alone aren't enough if communities don't understand risks or trust authorities. So, what can you do with this information? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Have you lived through a natural disaster? What warning systems exist in your community, and do you feel prepared? Remember, disasters may be triggered by natural events, but their impact is determined by human decisions, including yours. By learning from tragedies like Armero, we can create more resilient communities prepared to face future challenges. If you found this video valuable, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content that goes beyond the headlines to examine the complex intersection of natural hazards and human systems. And if you're interested in learning more about disaster preparedness in your own community, I've linked some resources in the description below that can help you get started. Until next time, stay safe, stay informed, and remember, the best time to prepare for a disaster is before it happens.